notching a little bit of stuff out before I get to the main processing. So I'll go ahead and start that main chain here. So this first thing is an expander, which is just lifting up the high end, or almost, I could say it almost as a gate. It's gating the high end until the snare is being struck. Yeah, so that's a pretty huge difference there. And it lets me get away with a lot of, not just compression, but just high-end adjustment without worrying about the bleed getting overly just built up, you know. So, EQ. So let's bring the scale. It's at a 30 dB scale right now. I'll go to 12. So you can see when you go to that scale, it's pretty high shelf going on there. And most of that is to make up for what I did before, kind of ducking the high end. It's letting me get away with more of that sort of high shelf without bringing up that bleed. And I just felt that it needed that much high end to sort of stand out and sound punchy. And then I notched this out to kind of tame the snare wires and not have it come up with the shelf like the same amount, because that just added a little harshness. That's basically it. I don't even look at the cab, but if you want to know, it's a 1x15. Oh no, it's only one speaker. I guess it is guitar time. So we recorded with Joey's orange Kiesel. He had this custom built Kiesel and sounds great, sounds twangy. The split coil sound is what you just heard there, and it just really suited this song a lot. So I feel like those two tones are kind of complementing each other. I look at these as like an extension of the bass almost in this section, just filling it out and complementing it because they're kind of fitting in different parts of the spectrum. So the EQ for the low guitars. Now it looks silly in the high end again, but I just wanted to get rid of that really sizzly stuff. The section is pretty chill, and I felt the high end being hyped up was not beneficial. It's subtle, but I feel like in the long run, I'm glad that high end was addressed like that. So yeah, I almost think it can come up a little bit when you revisit the mix again. You think different thoughts. I can take you through each layer going on here, for instance. So just an example here. This came as a very compressed, like intense piano, and I felt that in its nature it had this really pleasing attack in the high end that wasn't really ice picky, so I really wanted to accentuate that, and I wanted that aspect of the piano to cut through and be heard in the mix. this stuff has to go. Just merciless EQing. But sometimes things just have to be dealt with in that sort of manner. I love to have little tiny moves, but there's some cases where you just gotta be pretty aggressive with it and just kind of accept that certain things have certain roles in the mix, and this lower mid-range was not really its role at the time. Not with all this other stuff going on.